After proper hand hygiene, we start with the examination. Starting with inspection, we look for joint symmetry, alignment, any deformities or swelling on both back and front sides. We start the palpation at the clavicle from the front. Palpating the scapula at the back, moving laterally and upward. Palpating from the behind, we come in front towards the coracoid process, then the greater tubercle and the biceps tendon in the intertubercle groove. Lifting the humerus posteriorly, we palpate the subarachnoid bursa and the subdeltoid bursa and also the sits muscles. Raise your hand to your front. Okay, now put it overhead. Okay, good. Bring it back. Now bring your hand towards your back, from behind. Okay, bring it back. Raise your hand towards your side. Please. Now put it overhead. Okay. Now bring it down. Now cross your hand across your shoulders. Okay. Bring it down. Okay, very good. Turn your hand towards your back. Try to touch your shoulders, shoulder blade. Okay. Okay, bring it back. Now raise your hand towards your shoulder level. Face your hand towards the ceiling. Okay. Okay, put it down. We cuff our hand over the shoulder and perform the external rotation again when we find any problem. We elevate the arm to 90 degrees of flexion and then extend at maximum horizontal adduction. We ask the patient to bring his hand to the back as if he is scratching once from above and then from the below. Try to resist my hand, okay? Do you feel any pain?
No.
Excellent. Okay, make a fist. Put your thumbs up. Okay. Now, try to press out against my hand. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay, good. Oh. Okay. Now turn your hands as if you're holding a bowl of soup and I'm pressing. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. Keep your hand in the shoulder position. we start with the wrist and hand inspection. First, we observe the hand of the patient in motion, and when the fingers are relaxed, they should be slightly flexed. Then, we inspect and observe the contour of the palm for both the thenar and the hypothenar, and we note any thickening of the fingers or any tenderness on both the hands. We palpate the ulna on the lateral and the medial surface of the wrist. We palpate the radiostyloid bone, anatomical snuff box. If there is any pain, it suggests that there is a scaphoid fracture. Now we start palpating the 8 carpal bone and each metacarpal phalangeal joint. We compress the MCP joint by squeezing the hand from each side between the thumb and the fingers. The medial and the lateral aspect of each of the interphalangeal joint, and using the same technique we examine the DIP joint. Bring your palms up, face towards your face. Okay, palms flat. Bring it down towards your toes. Okay. Put your palms up. Face it, yeah. Face it towards your face. Yes. Palms flat. And face it downwards towards your toes. Okay. Fine. Raise your hand up. Okay. Now move it towards outside. Yeah. Now towards the body. Okay. Fine. So I'll check the strength of your hand. Hold my hands. So it is the hand, grip your hands. Try to squeeze my hand. Okay. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Let's test your hand for wrist pain. Grab your thumb in your hand. Okay. Hand. Okay. Try to squeeze your hand. Okay. Do you feel any pain?
No.
I want you to put your thumbs out like that, okay? I'll apply pressure here. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Okay. Do you feel any pain in your second, third and fourth finger?
No.
Any tingling effect?
No.
Okay. Now I would like you to put the back of your hands together. Okay. Did you feel any tingling effect in your second, third and fourth finger?
No.
Okay.
With the patient lying in supine position with his knees flexed, we inspect the knee for any deformities. Loss of normal hollows near the patella indicates atrophy of quadriceps muscle. Now we straighten the leg of the patient and palpate the suprapatellar pouch on each side of the quadriceps. We note if there is any swelling. Now we start with the palpation. Here, with the knee flexed at 90 degree, we assess the medial joint compartment for any tenderness. We palpate the medial femoral condyle, edge of the tibia, the tibiofibril joint, margin of the joints, the medial tibial plateau, the adduction tubercle, lateral femoral condyle, lateral tibial plateau, and lateral collateral ligament. We also palpate the medial meniscus and the lateral meniscus on both the legs. Now we proceed to assess the range of motion of the knee for flexion, extension, and internal and external rotation of the knee.
With the patient lying in the supine position, with his knees extended and the muscle relaxed, we sweep on the medial side, medial recess, upward, such as any fluid is displaced, and then we swift our hand towards the lateral recess in the downward direction so as to put the fluid on the medial side again. This is the bulge sign. If we find a bulge here, we'll consider the test is positive. By placing our thumb and the index finger on the sides of the patella and applying pressure from our left hand, we feel if there is any fluid moving. If we find that there is any fluid moving towards the suprapatellar region, then this test is positive, and this test is called the balloon sign. Now, with the patient lying in the supine position, we move on to the patellar tap test. We apply pressure from both sides, downwards with the left hand and upward with the right hand, reaching the patellar pouch. And when we reach to the patellar pouch, we move one of our finger and we try to feel if any fluid is floating. And if we feel any fluid floating, that indicates that there is accumulation below the patella, which is the cause of swelling of the knees. We start with the McMurray test with the patient lying in the supine position and his knees fully flexed. We rotate the tibia medially and extend the knees. We repeat this several times. In order to test the lateral meniscus. We repeat the same by rotating the tibia laterally in order to test the medial meniscus.
With the patient lying in supine position, his knee fully flexed, hold the ankle in one hand, secure the knee with the other, push medially against the knee and laterally against the ankle in an attempt to open the knee joint on the inside. Now, we grab the lower end of the leg at the ankle with one hand and with the other at the medial aspect of the femur, lateral rotation of the knee and the passive adduction at the knee joint and put stress at the lateral collateral ligament. We perform it again with the knee at 20 to 30 degree at flexion. This test is done in order to check the lateral collateral ligament damage in the knee joint. The patient hip flexed to 45 degree and the knee to 90 degree of flexion. We sit gently at the foot of the patient. Now we palpate the joint line with our thumb and try to move the tibia anteriorly in an explosive movement. This test is positive if the tibia translates anteriorly more than 6 mm. Now we proceed with the posterior draw test. By sitting gently at the foot of the patient, we palpate the joint line and push the tibia posteriorly in an explosive movement. This test results positive if the tibia translates posteriorly more than 6 mm. We bring the leg of the patient into 30 degree of flexion and then move the tibia into slight external rotation and try to translate the tibia anteriorly. This test results positive if the anterior cruciate is 3 mm greater in the injured leg than to the uninjured leg, or also we can feel for any soft and mushy amphil.